Some toxic people don't yell. They don't insult you openly. They smile, while quietly draining your energy. They provoke reactions. They twist words. They make you question yourself. And the moment you react emotionally, they win. Marcus Aurelius understood this danger long before the modern world existed. He ruled an empire surrounded by manipulation, betrayal, and hostility. Yet he never taught revenge. He taught control. Because the Stoic doesn't try to defeat toxic people, he refuses to become like them. Today, you'll learn 11 smart Stoic ways, inspired by Marcus Aurelius, to deal with toxic people without arguments, without drama, and without losing your peace. This is not about pleasing them. It's not about fixing them. It's about protecting your character while staying calm, clear, and untouchable. Stay until the end, because the strongest response to toxicity is not anger. It's mastery. 1. Don't take their behavior personally. The first mistake people make with toxic individuals is assuming everything is about them. A sharp comment feels like an attack. A cold reaction feels like disrespect. A manipulative move feels intentional. So you internalize it. You question yourself. You replay the moment again and again. That's exactly what toxic people feed on. Marcus Aurelius warned against this trap clearly. People act from their own character, not from your worth. Toxic behavior is rarely personal. It's habitual. It comes from insecurity, fear, envy, or a need for control. You just happen to be nearby. When you take it personally, you do two dangerous things. You give meaning to behavior that doesn't deserve it. You hand emotional control to someone who hasn't earned it. The Stoic response is not denial. It's reframing. Instead of asking, "Why are they doing this to me?" ask, "What does this behavior reveal about them?" That single question changes the power dynamic. Now you're observing, not absorbing, analyzing, not reacting, choosing, not spiraling. Think about a toxic co-worker who constantly criticizes, or a family member who uses guilt, or someone who provokes just to get a reaction. Their behavior is information, not a verdict on your value. When you stop taking it personally, insults lose their sting, manipulation loses its grip, your self-respect stays intact. Try this Stoic practice the next time toxicity appears. Pause and say silently, "This is about their inner state, not my worth." Then decide your response, or your silence, deliberately. Remember this rule: I am responsible for my character, not for their behavior. When you stop personalizing toxicity, you don't become distant. You become clear, and clarity is the first line of defense. 2. Control your reaction. That's your power. Toxic people don't need strength. They need your reaction. A raised voice, an emotional message, a defensive explanation. That's how they win. They provoke, not to communicate, but to pull you off balance. Marcus Aurelius wrote this as a warning, not advice. If someone can disturb your mind, they control you. Most people give that control away instantly. A comment triggers anger. They respond. A tone triggers insecurity. They explain. A lie triggers outrage. They argue. Reaction becomes automatic. And automatic reactions are easy to manipulate. The Stoic response is simple, but brutal. You slow down. You don't rush to correct. You don't rush to defend. You don't rush to prove anything, because the moment you pause, the power shifts back to you. Here's the truth toxic people hate. They can't control you unless you let them control your emotions. Silence confuses them. Calm unsettles them. Neutrality starves them. This doesn't mean you tolerate disrespect. It means you choose when and how to respond, or not respond at all. Try this Stoic protocol the next time someone tries to provoke you. Pause, breathe, choose. Pause for a few seconds. Breathe to reset your nervous system. Choose a response that protects your peace. not your ego. Sometimes the smartest response is no response. Sometimes it's a short, calm sentence. Sometimes it's distance, but it's always intentional. Repeat this inner rule. My reaction is my responsibility and my weapon. When you control your reaction, you stop feeding toxic behavior. You stop escalating chaos. You remain grounded while others lose control. And that's when people realize something dangerous. They can't move you. They can't shake you. They can't use you, because the Stoic who controls his reaction controls the situation. 3. Say less, observe more. Toxic people reveal themselves the moment you stop talking. Most people do the opposite. They explain, they justify. They fill the silence because it feels uncomfortable, and in doing so, they give toxic people exactly what they want: information and leverage. Marcus Aurelius believed silence was not weakness, it was intelligence in action. When you speak less, 3 things happen. First, you stop feeding manipulation. Toxic people twist words. The fewer words you give them, the less material they have to work with. Second, you see patterns more clearly. When you're not busy defending yourself, you start noticing inconsistencies, tone shifts, and repeated behaviors. Third, the power dynamic changes. Silence forces the other person to reveal their intentions. Think about it. A manipulative person talks more when you don't react. They over-explain. They contradict themselves. They expose their agenda. That's not an accident. Silence removes their control script. This doesn't mean you disappear or become passive. It means you choose your words deliberately. Short answers. Neutral tone. No emotional explanations. You don't owe clarity to someone acting in bad faith. Here's the Stoic rule. Words are tools, not obligations. Speak when it serves truth or boundaries. Stay silent when words would only feed chaos. Try this practice the next time you sense toxicity. Respond with fewer words, less emotion, more observation. Then ask yourself, do their actions match their words? Do they escalate when ignored? Do they respect silence or attack it? Those answers tell you everything you need to know. Repeat this Stoic reminder. I don't rush to speak. I wait to understand. When you say less and observe more, manipulation loses speed, lies lose consistency. Your position becomes stronger because silence isn't empty. It's strategic space, and in that space, toxic people expose themselves without you lifting a finger. 4. Set clear internal boundaries. Most people think boundaries are something you announce. They explain, they warn, they negotiate, and that's exactly why toxic people ignore them. Stoicism teaches a quieter, stronger approach. Boundaries are decisions, not debates. Marcus Aurelius didn't spend his energy convincing others how to treat him. He governed himself. That's the key difference. An internal boundary means you decide, in advance, what behavior you tolerate, what behavior you disengage from, what behavior ends access to you. No speech is required. When toxic people sense uncertainty, they push. When they sense emotional dependence, they test limits. But when your boundaries are internal, something changes. You don't argue, you don't escalate, you adjust access. Disrespect shows up, you shorten interactions. Manipulation appears, you stop sharing information. Repeated patterns continue, you create distance. Calmly, quietly, consistently. That consistency is what toxic people can't stand, because they rely on reactions, not resolve. Here's the Stoic rule that protects your peace. You don't need permission to protect yourself. You don't owe explanations to people who misuse access. You don't need closure conversations to move on. You don't need agreement to enforce a boundary. Your behavior is the boundary. Try this internal exercise. Ask yourself, what behavior immediately costs someone access to me? What patterns am I no longer willing to tolerate? What do I disengage from without announcement? Decide once, then act accordingly. And repeat this Stoic reminder. I set boundaries with my actions, not my emotions. When your boundaries are internal, you stop being pulled into arguments. You stop explaining yourself to manipulators. You conserve energy for what matters. Toxic people don't need to understand your boundaries. They only need to feel them. 5. Refuse to argue with irrationality. One of the biggest traps with toxic people is believing that if you explain better, they'll understand. They won't. Not because you're unclear, but because clarity was never their goal. Toxic people don't argue to find truth. They argue to dominate, exhaust, confuse, pull you into emotional chaos. Marcus Aurelius warned against this centuries ago. You don't reason with someone who is committed to misunderstanding you. Most people learn this too late. They bring facts to emotional battles, logic to manipulation, explanations to bad faith, and every time they do, they lose energy, not gain resolution. The Stoic response is decisive. You disengage from irrationality, not with anger, not with sarcasm, but with refusal. Refusal to argue with someone who twists your words, changes the rules mid-conversation, never admits fault, escalates instead of listening. Arguing with them doesn't prove strength. It proves availability, and availability is what they exploit. Here's the Stoic rule. If a conversation cannot lead to truth or resolution, it doesn't deserve your participation. That means you don't defend against absurd accusations, you don't chase agreement, you don't try to win conversations designed to drain you. Sometimes the smartest response is a calm sentence. I disagree. That's not how I see it. I'm not continuing this conversation. And then silence. No follow-up. No explanation. No re-engagement. That silence is not avoidance. It's discipline. Try this mindset shift. Instead of asking, how do I make them understand? Ask, is understanding even possible here? If the answer is no, you already know what to do. Repeat this Stoic reminder. I don't argue with confusion. I step away from it. When you refuse to argue with irrationality, you protect your mental clarity, you stop emotional bleeding, you deny toxic people their favorite weapon, and the moment you stop fighting nonsense, your peace starts returning. 6. Don't explain yourself excessively. Over-explaining is one of the quiet ways people lose power. You justify your tone, you defend your choices, you clarify things that don't actually need clarification. And the more you explain, the smaller you appear. Toxic people understand this instinctively. They push, question, and provoke. Not because they want clarity, but because they want you off balance. Marcus Aurelius lived by a simple rule. Your actions should speak louder than your explanations. When you explain excessively, you send a message, even if you don't mean to, that you seek approval, that you doubt your own authority, that you're open to being negotiated with. That's exactly what toxic people exploit. The Stoic approach is different. You speak once, clearly. You state your position without emotion. And you stop. No follow-up arguments, no long justifications. No trying to be understood by someone committed to misunderstanding you. Confidence doesn't announce itself. It shows up as brevity. Think about it. Strong people don't narrate their boundaries. They enforce them. They don't convince. They decide. Here's the Stoic rule to remember. You don't need to explain yourself to people who question your right to choose. That doesn't mean you're rude. It means you're grounded. If clarification is needed, you give it. If manipulation is present, you withdraw. Try this practice. The next time you feel the urge to over-explain, pause and ask, am I sharing information or defending myself? Is this conversation about understanding or control? If it's control, stop speaking. A short sentence is enough. That's my decision. I'm not comfortable with that. I've already answered. Then let silence do the rest. Repeat this Stoic reminder. I don't shrink my authority with unnecessary explanations. When you stop over-explaining, your words carry more weight. Toxic people lose leverage. Your presence becomes firmer because the less you justify your boundaries, the more solid they become. 7. Limit exposure without drama. Not every battle needs a confrontation. Not every toxic person deserves an explanation. One of the smartest Stoic moves is knowing when to quietly step back. Most people make this mistake. They announce their exit. They explain why. They list grievances. They hope for understanding or validation. That turns distance into drama, and drama feeds toxic people. Marcus Aurelius understood a deeper truth. You don't owe access to anyone who disturbs your peace. Limiting exposure doesn't require a speech. It requires consistency. You reply less. You share less. You shorten interactions. You stop volunteering emotional energy. No accusations. No ultimatums. No dramatic exits. Just fewer opportunities. Toxic people thrive on intensity. When intensity disappears, so does their influence. Think about how this works in real life. A co-worker constantly complains. You keep it professional and brief. A friend drains you. You stop being as available. A family member provokes. You change the subject or leave early. You don't punish. You reallocate energy. That's Stoic discipline. Here's the key mindset shift. Distance is not cruelty. Distance is self-respect. You can be polite without being close, calm without being engaged, civil without being available. And you don't need their agreement to do this. Try this practical rule. If someone repeatedly leaves you tense, drained, or defensive, they get less access, automatically. No warnings, no justifications. Your time and attention are limited resources. Spend them where they strengthen you, not where they erode you. Repeat this Stoic reminder. I protect my peace by choosing my proximity. When you limit exposure without drama, you avoid unnecessary conflict, you deny toxic people emotional fuel, you keep your dignity intact. Sometimes the strongest move isn't confrontation, it's quiet distance. 8. Respond with neutrality, not emotion. Toxic people don't thrive on logic, they thrive on emotion. Anger fuels them, defensiveness feeds them, frustration keeps them engaged. Emotion is the hook. Marcus Aurelius understood this deeply. He trained himself to meet hostility not with force, but with calm neutrality. Because neutrality does something powerful, it removes the reward. When you respond without emotion, provocation falls flat, manipulation loses traction, drama collapses on itself. This is not weakness, it's emotional discipline. Most people think strength means pushing back harder. Stoicism teaches something smarter. You don't mirror chaos, you stay unchanged by it. Neutral responses sound simple, but they're strategic. I see. That's your opinion. Noted. I disagree. No sarcasm, no heat, no emotional explanation, just flat, calm acknowledgement. This creates an unexpected effect. Toxic people escalate when they don't get emotion. They try harder, they reveal impatience, they expose intent. And all the while, you stay centered. Think of neutrality as a mirror that reflects nothing. There's nothing for them to grab. Nothing to twist, nothing to feed on. This is sometimes called the gray rock approach, but Stoicism practiced it long before modern psychology named it. Neutrality protects your nervous system. It keeps your judgment clear. It prevents regret. Try this practice. The next time someone tries to provoke you, respond with fewer words, slower tone. Zero emotional charge. Then stop engaging. No follow-up, no justification, no counterattack. Repeat this Stoic reminder: I do not reward chaos with emotion. When you master neutrality, toxic behavior loses momentum, conversations end faster, your peace remains intact because emotion is optional, and the Stoic chooses when and if to spend it. 9. Accept that you can't change them. One of the most exhausting habits is trying to change people who have no intention of changing. You explain your feelings, you point out patterns, you hope that this time they'll understand. They don't, and every failed attempt costs you energy. Marcus Aurelius was clear about this reality. You are responsible for your own mind, not for fixing others. Toxic people rarely change because someone reasoned with them. They change only when they choose to, and that choice is outside your control. The moment you accept this, something heavy lifts. Because most of your suffering isn't caused by their behavior, it's caused by your expectation that they should be different. Expectation creates hope. Hope delays boundaries, and delay prolongs pain. Stoicism cuts through this cycle. You stop asking, how do I make them see? How do I help them change? How do I get through to them? And you start asking, given who they are, what's the wise distance? What response protects my character? What choice preserves my peace? Acceptance is not approval, it's clarity. You see people as they are, not as you wish they were. And with that clarity, you adjust. Less engagement, lower expectations, stronger boundaries, no resentment required. Here's the Stoic rule that ends the struggle. You don't need people to change for you to move forward. When you stop trying to change toxic people, you stop repeating the same arguments, you stop hoping for apologies that never come. You reclaim your time and emotional bandwidth. Try this internal statement the next time frustration rises. I accept them as they are, and choose accordingly. Acceptance gives you leverage. Because once you stop trying to fix others, you finally have the energy to protect yourself. 10. Choose distance over revenge. When you're hurt by a toxic person, revenge feels tempting. You want to expose them, embarrass them, make them feel what you felt. But Stoicism asks a harder question. What does revenge cost you? Marcus Aurelius warned that retaliation ties your peace to someone else's behavior. The moment you seek revenge, they're still controlling you. Revenge keeps you emotionally attached. It prolongs contact. It forces you to stay in the same mental space as the person who harmed you. That's not victory. That's captivity. Stoicism offers a smarter alternative. Distance. Distance ends the cycle without escalation. Distance removes the audience. Distance deprives toxic people of relevance. Here's the truth most people miss. Toxic people don't suffer when you attack them. They suffer when you become unreachable. No reaction, no commentary, no attempts to set the record straight. Just absence. Distance doesn't mean weakness. It means you value your future more than your anger. Think about the long game. Revenge gives short-term relief, followed by regret, drama, and more entanglement. Distance gives long-term peace, without stains on your character. The Stoic doesn't ask, how do I get even? He asks, how do I move forward without carrying this? That's power. Try this reframing the next time revenge crosses your mind. Instead of planning a response, ask, will this bring me peace tomorrow? Will this keep me tied to them? Is this aligned with the person I'm becoming? If the answer isn't peace, you already know what to choose. Repeat this Stoic reminder. My silence and distance are my final response. When you choose distance over revenge, you stop emotional bleeding, you protect your integrity, you win without fighting, because the greatest victory is not proving a point. It's moving on untouched. 11. Protect your character. Above all, The final mistake people make with toxic individuals is allowing themselves to become someone they don't respect. They snap back, they gossip, they manipulate in return, and even if they win the moment, they lose something far more valuable: their character. Marcus Aurelius believed this above all else. No one can harm your character unless you surrender it. Toxic people will test you. They'll provoke. They'll try to pull you down to their level. Because if they can make you reactive, petty, or cruel, they don't just hurt you. They change you. The Stoic refuses that trade. You don't need to outsmart toxic people. You don't need to expose them. You don't need to prove anything. Your task is simpler and harder. Remain yourself. Act with restraint when it's easier to retaliate. Speak with clarity when it's tempting to attack. Walk away when your ego wants the last word. That restraint is not weakness, it's mastery. Character is what remains when no one is watching, and when someone is trying to push your buttons. Ask yourself this question in every toxic situation. What response allows me to respect myself tomorrow? If a response stains your integrity, it costs too much. Here's the Stoic rule that ends all confusion. Protecting your character is always worth more than winning an argument. When you guard your character, toxic people lose influence. Your self-trust deepens, your peace becomes unshakable. You walk away without bitterness, you move forward without regret. And that's the quiet power Marcus Aurelius lived by. Repeat this final reminder. I protect my character, even when others don't. Because in the end, your character is the only thing toxicity cannot touch. Marcus Aurelius's final lesson. Let's bring this to its core. You've just learned 11 smart Stoic ways to deal with toxic people. Not by fighting them, not by changing them, but by mastering yourself. You learn to stop taking things personally, to control your reactions, to speak less and observe more, to set boundaries without drama, to refuse irrational arguments, to stop over-explaining, to limit access quietly, to respond with neutrality, to release the need to change them, to choose distance over revenge, and above all, to protect your character. That was the true philosophy of Marcus Aurelius. He didn't teach domination, he taught dignity, because toxic people don't defeat you. Losing control does. You don't need to prove anything. You don't need to be understood. You don't need the last word. Your calm is the boundary. Your discipline is the response. Your character is the victory. If this helped you, like the video, subscribe, and share it with someone who's dealing with silent chaos. And leave this affirmation in the comments. I choose peace over chaos. Remember this. You don't rise above toxicity by becoming louder. You rise above it by remaining unshaken. Stay grounded, stay disciplined, and walk forward untouched.